After my mother's funeral, a sharp crash echoed through the room as the painting hit the floor, the frame splintering at the corner. "You deserve this trash," my husband sneered, his tone dripping with disdain. The wood cracked apart, and something small tumbled out, striking the floor with a metallic clink. I bent down and picked it up, a brass key, cool and heavy in my palm. Without another glance, he stormed off, muttering bitterly about how my sister inherited 3 houses while I was left with garbage. But I just stood there, staring at that key, my chest tightening. The broken frame had revealed more, a folded piece of paper hidden in the backing. I pulled it free. It was a map, and a name I hadn't heard in years. Daniel. I met him when I was 21, a man with an easy smile and the confidence of someone who'd never been denied anything. He told me I was rare, pure, grounded. I thought I'd found safety. For years, I played my part, the devoted wife, the steady partner. But cracks began to show. The way his expression tightened at certain words. The strange numbers on the bank statements. The locked drawer in his study that I was never allowed to open. When my mother died, I thought he'd be my comfort. Instead, he was calculating, dissecting what she might have left behind. And when there was no money or property, only a single painting, he dismissed it as worthless. He never really knew my mother. And he certainly didn't know her secrets. The map led me to a bank downtown, Safety Deposit Box X173. I told Daniel I was meeting a friend. No perfume, no makeup, nothing to raise suspicion. The key slid into the lock perfectly. Inside, I found ledgers, property deeds, and a letter in my mother's unmistakable handwriting. She had known about Daniel long before I did. In that letter, she described him for what he truly was, a man who would drain the life and resources from those around him. She had quietly moved her assets, 3 rental properties and a large savings account, into a trust under my name, sealed until after her death. Her warning was clear: don't let him touch it. Don't even let him know it exists. For the first time in months, my pulse slowed. I didn't confront him. I didn't change my routine. I let him think I was broken. Meanwhile, he spent more, partied more, and cared less. His business trips came with perfume lingering on his shirts and charges from hotels I'd never visited. I documented everything, every receipt, every email, every timestamp. The trust my mother left became my shield. The evidence I collected became my sword. Quietly, I visited a lawyer in a building Daniel would never pass. I handed her the files. She smiled the way a surgeon does before removing something toxic. We built the case slowly: hidden accounts, infidelity, financial neglect. We waited for his spending to spiral out of control, for arrogance to blind him completely. Then we struck. The morning he was served, Daniel laughed. "You can't win. Everything we have is mine, too." I simply replied, "We'll see." In court, my lawyer unfolded the story like a well-crafted crime novel, each page more damning than the last. Bank transfers to another woman. Properties purchased in her name. My inheritance siphoned into his gambling debts. But thanks to my mother, the real assets had been untouchable. The judge's expression hardened. When the verdict came, Daniel's smirk vanished. The houses, gone. The accounts, frozen. He was ordered to pay me alimony for years, and the trust remained solely mine. Yet that wasn't the sweetest victory. 2 weeks later, the woman he'd been seeing knocked on my door. She had been his future, the one he promised everything to. Now she'd learned he had nothing left. I handed her copies of the court documents. "He'll blame me," I said, "but the truth is right here." I saw her expression shift, first to anger, then to quiet satisfaction. She walked away with the papers. I knew Daniel would never see her again. I sold the painting at auction for more than he had earned in a year. The frame was still cracked. I kept the key. Some people keep trophies from their victories. I keep reminders. Daniel believed the day of my mother's funeral was the day I was at my weakest. He was wrong. It was the day she armed me. People sometimes ask if I think about him. I don't. Not because I've forgotten, but because I've already closed that chapter. I don't replay scenes from finished stories. All I remember is leaving the courthouse with my mother's letter in my purse, and my future, entirely my own again. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just the soft click of a lock opening in your hand.